Welcome back to Lesscashmoremash. My name's Tom.
And I'm Colin.
And today, we're doing something different again. We're going to do another episode of Reget or Regret. So we had killed, Mike drank all my bottles the other day, so we got all kinds of bottles over here to kill. So we figured we'd do another episode and just tell you what we think about of the bottles we had. So we'll start this off, well, we're going to start it off with a good and a bad one is the way I'm going to start it off. So this one right here is Rabbit Hole Derringer. So this one we got for $59.99, but it regularly sells from $65 to almost $80.
Randomly, you can find a 59, but not often.
It's right. They usually up there in the price. This one was very good, especially when you drank it by itself. We did compare it to Old Elk a couple times, and the Old Elk one smashed it. But this one's very good. For the 59, I would consider getting it again, but there's so many other finished ones out there that are as good anyways.
It's probably
for less
the
money.
biggest downfall is the proof and the price.
Right, and that's just it. This was very good. I probably wouldn't get it unless it was requested by somebody else. Not because I didn't like it. I'm saying if you've never tried it, try it. But there's been so many. In fact, I'm going to follow up with one that was just as good with less money.
I actually did like this one, and it's a different look. So if you do have a slight collection, it's worth even just. Right, it's a good bourbon.
That's finished in a sherry. This one's finished in a port wine cask. So this one is First Call Break Maiden. We got this one for $39.99. Or I should say Steve actually got this one for $39.99. This is a Total Wine and More. They have a ton of First Calls out there. And when we drank this the first time, again, we compared it to an Old Elk in the same finish. And the Old Elk did beat it because it's a higher proof, but it's 3 times the price almost too. So for $31.99, I would buy this, and I will end up buying this again because I want to try all the First Calls, but we have so many bottles in the Santa Sack. I just haven't gone to it. But
and if you're actually just starting out too, this is not a bad way to go because it's a decent bourbon. It's not killing you in price. You're not jumping into the $60, $70, $80. And they do have a pretty. They almost have like everything. They got the rye. They got the.
I'm actually interested to see because we got that way back in the beginning of the channel. You can go back and watch it. We did the First Call rye, and someone commented like, "You guys suck because you don't know. You didn't." I want to almost go back and try it again because he's like, "You guys got to tell the truth. You didn't say anything." I was like, "Dude, that was like a year and a half ago. I don't even remember it, but I don't remember hating it." And back then, you know what I mean. You weren't as much of a rye hater back then. You actually bought it and took it home and killed the 1.75 liter, and it was cheap. So. This one here is the Tonest Truth. This was the high rye bourbon put out by a distillery down in Virginia Beach, I want to say. So this was for $59.99 on this one. When Steve brought this one up, this one he had this one in Discretion. I personally like the Discretion better than the Tonest Truth. But it was one of the first ones that I really got that fresh baked bread flavor on. It's good, but for that price and the limited availability, I probably wouldn't buy this again. But again, if you're in Virginia Beach area,
and if you're trying,
I would definitely try.
And you went there, I'd like to go see the place, and it does have a unique little flavor, but nothing evil about it.
No, I would buy it again. You know, if I was there and I get everything about it, I liked it, and it is a craft distillery, so I get the proof. Price wise on that, but it's not something I would seek out. But definitely, if you've never had it, it was very good. There's nothing bad I can say about it, anyways. So. We'll come back to a traditional one. This is just a regular Larceny small batch, 92 proof. We got it for $25.99. I bought it when we did the Battle of the Weeders, and in that battle, this one it came out with a weird taste. Like it started tasting really young compared to the rest of them. But honestly, I drank this bottle right down, and I had no issues. When you drank it by itself,
I was gonna say, and by itself,
very good.
And for the price,
for $25, you actually get
Is it 90?
92 proof, I think. Yeah. So you actually get a decent flavor for...
It's a cheap enough start.
Yeah.
You know, you're not at the bottom of the barrel, and I think it's quality.
No, I agree.
For what it is, I think it's worth it. It's worth
I would buy it again just on that. I did buy it twice. And if someone requests on it, it's cheap enough bottle. It's $25. So speaking of cheap enough bottle, this one was $25.99 also. This was another one Steve got. Now this is Flatboat Bourbon Whiskey. So this was one of the ones he got down in Virginia. This is it's not Total Wine and More. It's the Liquor World or Liquor something. Think of Liquor World one. It's their version, basically what First Call is. They did it. I forget who the distiller is. I want to say it might be Barton 1792 or something that actually makes it.
If you go to any of those bigger ones,
they get their
Total
own
Wine.
Version.
They'll usually have this right next to kind of who makes it, or who's part of it, who makes it for them. So, and then you can kind of judge, what you want to try without spending probably another $10 more.
And that's the thing. That wasn't exceptional by any means. It was a solid bourbon, but for $25, that's what you're going to get. You know what I mean? It's not. If you want a lower proof bourbon that had a decent flavor, that's your guy. You know what I mean?
92.
Yeah, it's not. I don't remember the proof on that one.
I can't see it.
So, we'll stay with Steve's while I'm at it. So, this is another one. So, this is the Old Elk Blended Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Got this for $45. This is one of the only Old Elks you're going to find for like $45. The rest of them are like $85 and up. But this one is another one that brought that fresh baked bread. This one was very good. And for the price, I do love the bottle. I love their cork. I actually already threw it over there. But it's just, everything about it. This one's a solid bourbon for the price. I would.
We didn't have to buy any of the Old Elks, which we will,
right?
Because we don't have them in our collection. Steve's got them in his. So,
right.
Well, if we didn't have so many over there weighing down the backside of the pool table, there'd probably be a couple.
Right, their finished ones were phenomenal, but you're talking anywhere from $85 to $100. Where you know what I mean. So that's the only thing with that. But they were all very, very good. So.
And our shelves are full.
And our shelves are full. Speaking of somewhat expensive, this is a Johnnie Walker 18-year. The MSRP is $89.99. You actually got this as a gift many moons ago. They all have in there if you turn it upside down. But this is one of the ones it is an 18-year, and I get that, $89.99. But I'll tell you what, I've drank this up against something like we got the Dewar's 15 or the 12-year Chivas. I like their flavors are better. This one's just
it's harsh. A lot of the old timers that drink this on a regular basis, they don't go here. They will go to the Chivas or.
I'll be honest. We put it up against I've compared them back to back with the Johnnie Walker 9-year, and I actually prefer the 9. It wasn't as aggressive to me. There was just a lot more going on.
Their bottle's neat.
It is everything about it. It's a solid. I'm not anti Johnnie Walker by any means, but it was definitely more on the aggressive side than some of the other ones we had. So,
if you want it in your collection.
Yeah, it's up to you, but I don't personally. I would never buy
my opinion on Scotch. So
I would just never buy that one again because I think I've had a better taste.
There's a million others.
There's 1,000 Scotches we haven't even touched. Right, exactly.
So that'd probably be a.
Speaking of ones I probably wouldn't buy again. So this is Sweetens Cove Tennessee whiskey. This is the joint between Kentucky and Tennessee whiskey. We got it for $59.99. Well, this one's one of the ones. It's 110 proof. But it drinks like 128 proof. It's just, it's not a bad whiskey. It's just hot. It just drinks hot.
And I like this one.
Again, not a bad whiskey, but it just drinks hot. You know what I mean? It drinks more hot than flavorful to me. That was my thing. We put it up against, in one of the recent, we did it by the private barrel on Russell's Reserve. And I just you actually, I might have picked this one. I forget who picked what. But I think I picked Russell's. It had more of a complex flavor. It's not a bad whiskey by any means. For that price, it's just hot. It's just hot to me.
I like the whole story about it and everything too. If you were cruising by, I would pick it up.
Right. It's around, but it's not, it wouldn't be one that I have to gravitate to. There's so many whiskeys.
$60, so you're right.
The one of these things about doing this reviews like this is there's so many whiskeys out there. And the more, 'cause even our cousin at one point, we were at a cookout, and he's like, aren't you almost at the end? You know how many... when we're still barely cracking over the $100 mark. We buy one here and there. That's more than that. But there are so many different, whiskeys out there that it's crazy how much is out there. So it's almost
even
hard
state
to
state.
It's definitely state to state, but it's hard to say. Would you rebuy? I'm not one. I don't usually buy and get a backup, unless we really like it, or someone's requesting, or it's for a review. Because if it wasn't for a review, I would just keep going to a different one each time because you're not going to know if you like them and try it. So, speaking of one I did buy as a backup, Benchmark Full Proof. This is 125 proof. We got this for $21.99. And I defy anyone. Leave a comment down below if you know any bottle that can be 125 proof anywhere near the $21 mark. It's just not going to happen.
Especially in this state.
The problem with it is it doesn't come to this state.
That is the major
I only got a backup because Steve's brother-in-law shipped us in a couple bottles, and I was like, sure, I want another one. For that price, you can't beat it.
And I only have one because I think Steve brought a couple up. First time.
I don't think you have. You have an early. You have a early times bottle and bond. I don't think he brought one of. I think we only brought that one series up. So there you go. All of this whole series. If for whatever reason Buffalo Trace is watching, this whole series should be worldwide. And
this is like their most expensive one, 21.
Nah, the single barrels are like 25, somewhere in that range. But that's the top of the line of their expressions. So. I mean, as far as the 5, you know what I mean?
It's well worth the money.
Last but not least, this is Old Forester 1897 bottled and bond. We got this one for $37.99. The Old Fort, though, this is part of the Whiskey Roast series. These just seem to be climbing in price. I've noticed when I've seen them in the stores.
Like everybody is.
Yeah, it's hard to find these. I don't see them. I see them up higher now in the 40s and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say 40-something.
Yeah, in this one. But honestly, this one of our best of the Bottle and Bond series that we did. This is absolutely phenomenal. We've never really put it up against just their regular 100 proof one that they have in there. But this is just, in all rights, absolutely delicious juice, 100 proof.
I don't know if we have an Old Forester product that we've sampled or tried. That we were like, nah.
No, there hasn't been.
I know people have said the Statesman was probably the one, and we have not got that one, but everything we have behind us.
But then I've seen people say they love it, too. It's just, it's a lot of money for the proof.
That's been the biggest bitch.
Right,
but
and that's
the
thing.
It's well worth the money.
So, well, there you go. There's our version of regret. Leave a comment down below if you agree, disagree with some of the bottles that we said, or maybe you have some that you either liked or disliked. You leave a comment down below. That being said, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Spend less, drink more. Cheers.
Subscribe.